Protagonist Pub. My name is Tammy, and this is where characters gather. Let's do a book tag. This is the summer bucket list book tag, and I found it over on the Read by Tiffany blog, which I will link down below. And I just thought the questions were, or the prompts were fun and summer related and interesting. So I thought I would do the tag. The first prompt is Hit the Beach, a book set by the water. And for this, I am going to choose the Sunset Cove trilogy by Colleen Coble. The first book is The Inn at Ocean's Edge. This takes place in Maine, which, you know, is not your usual beach choice or water choice, but I love me a good book set in Maine. I loved this book. It's Christian romantic suspense. It is light on the romance, heavier on the suspense. It's a good mystery. It's well written. It takes place near on in the water, and yeah, you can easily pick this up even if you are a primarily or exclusively secular reader. The faith in here is gentle every day. It is not intrusive. It is not preachy. I would not skip this book just because it is marketed as Christian romantic suspense. If you love a good mystery and you love some, light romance in your mystery, this series will work for you, regardless of the type of reader you are. Okay, second prompt. Watch Fireworks, a fiery romance. I don't read a lot of what is fiery romance. I prefer my books to be, on the low side of spice. If they're super spicy, I skip the spice because I always have. I don't want to read it. I understand that there's a market for it. I am not that intended audience. However, so for this prompt, I can give you a secular recommendation and a Christian fiction recommendation. So the secular recommendation is definitely spicy. It is definitely very spicy. I skipped the spice in this book because it fits in the scheme of the book, but I don't need to read that stuff. And that would be the Empyrean series by Rebecca Yarros. The first book is Iron Wing. The second book is Iron Flame. I read these both last year. I loved them both. I didn't expect to enjoy the Horny Dragon book. I was blown away. It is definitely romantasy. It is definitely spicy. We all rate spice differently, so I'm not going to try to rate it for you. I enjoyed it immensely. I'm not going to lie. Despite the spice, which I skipped, I enjoyed it immensely. The second series I'm going to recommend is the Freddie and Grace Mystery Series by Pepper Basham. This is a non-spicy but fiery romance nonetheless. Our heroine is Grace. Our hero is Freddie. They end up in a marriage of convenience that quickly turns to love and danger as Freddie is kidnapped in the first book and Grace rushes off to save him. And this is just a beautiful, slow burn. I fall in love with you and I love discovering everything about you romance. And book 1 is set in England, book 2 is set in Egypt, book 3 is set in Italy, and book 4 is, I don't know where it is set yet, but I know it's coming. And I can't wait. Again, The faith in these books is the gentle, everyday kind of faith. It isn't preachy. It isn't offensive. It's heavier faith than what you will find in a Colleen Coble, but it is not preachy in any sense. I highly recommend the Freddie and Grace mystery series. Prompt number 3. Go for a road trip. A book that involves a journey. I am going to highly recommend The Fast Lane by Sharon Peterson. It releases June 19th. Depending on when this video comes out, my video review of this will be linked down below. If it comes out before the 19th, then you can look for the review for this on release day. This is the second book in the Two Hearts Texas series. The first book is The Do-Over. No. The Fake Out is the first book in the Two Hearts series. And there is a trip in the Fake Out, which I absolutely loved. It is at the end of the book. It involves a white shirt, an airplane, and I was in stitches. I was laughing so hard, my sides actually hurt when I read that scene. And the conclusion of said airplane trip made me cry so hard. Both these books in this series I absolutely love. The Fast Lane is definitely a road trip. It is a road trip romance. It is from Texas to Portland, Oregon. And Allie is our heroine. And Theo is our hero. And over the course of the road trip, they learn a lot of things. They learn that they admit they love each other finally. And it is just a beautiful book of self-discovery and love and family and all the feels. So those are my road trip recommendations. Prompt number 4, Camp Under the Stars. Left You Starstruck, a book with all the feels. And for that, I'm going to say, even though I have not yet read it yet, Summer Rental by Mary Kay Andrews. I trust her as an author. I know that all of her books give me all of the feels, funny, romantic. They make me cry. They make me wish people would just, be up front sometimes. All the feels are in Mary Kay Andrews' books. And they're great beach reads. And they, again, beach read cover, beach read title. I'll read you a little bit of the back. Ellis, Julia, and Dory, best friends since Catholic grade school. They now find themselves in their mid-30s at the crossroads of life and love. Ellis, recently fired from a job she gave everything to, is rudderless and now beginning to question the choices she's made over the past decade of her life. Julia, whose caustic wit covers up her wounds, has a man who loves her and is offering her the world, but she can't hide how deeply insecure she feels about her looks, her brains, and her life. And Dory has recently been shockingly betrayed by the man she loved and trusted the most in the world. Though this is only the tip of the iceberg of her problems and secrets. A month in North Carolina's Outer Banks is just what each of them needs. I need to read this one this summer. I really, really do. So, we'll see if I get there. Prompt number 5. Marathon Some Movies, a book you couldn't put down. And for that, I am going to choose The Women by Christian Hannah. This was my first book by the author. It was strongly recommended to me by Amanda over at Book Lover Amanda. And I read it. If I didn't read it in one sitting, I finished it the very next day because my eyes wouldn't stay open any longer. This is historical fiction. It opens up as the Vietnam War kicks off, And we follow Frankie and her girlfriends that she meets in Vietnam as they serve their country as nurses. And it follows Frankie as she returns home and suffers PTSD. And we watch her make life choices we know are bad. We watch her make decisions we know that if she wasn't spiraling, she probably wouldn't have made. And it is just a beautiful journey of hope and coming back from the worst thing you can put yourself through and making it through to the other side. And it is not the last book I will ever read by Christian Hannah, and I highly recommend it. Prompt number 6, Go Out for Ice Cream, a Sweet Romance. And for this, I'm going to choose a book I recently picked up on Kindle Unlimited and devoured. That would be Summer at Monte Carlo by Jennifer Bonet. Trust the author's name on the book cover. This is a slow burn romance. It is set in a location that is not used often. That is the Principality of Monte Carlo. It covers a sport that is rarely talked about in fiction, which is F1 racing. There is a mystery. There is finding your feet again after a very failed romance. And allowing yourself to fall in love again. I devoured this book. I loved it. It is not my last book from this author. It will definitely put you in the mood for a summer romance. It is clean. It is just good escapist fiction. It's not overly long. It's probably 350-ish pages. It was just a terrific, light, but yet had depth read. And you know me, I love those kind of books when I need a palate cleanser, and this was definitely that for me. Prompt number 7, Picnic in the Park, a breath of fresh air. And for that, I chose Miss Graham's Cold War Cookbook by Celia Reese. This is set in post-World War II Europe, which is a setting that is often ignored, excuse me, in fiction. And while I cannot talk about the details of this book without spoiling the book, I will tell you it is still, as of the publishing of this video, my book of the year. That's how impressive this book was. That's how impactful this book was for me. And I do not know why it is not more widely read and talked about. That's how amazing this book was. So, prompt number 8, Go for a Hike. Character who has conquered an obstacle. And for that, I am going to choose Molly Chase in Pieces by Rhonda Ortiz. This is the first book in the Molly Chase series. And it is set in 1793 Boston, so it's obviously historical fiction. And Molly is suffering from PTSD. And that is very clear in the opening chapter. It is not a spoiler to tell you that Molly discovers her father's body in his study when he commits suicide. That is why she has PTSD. And PTSD isn't a known thing in 1793. And Molly goes through it, and with the help of the characters in the book, she begins to recover. And it is Catholic historical fiction. However, it is also a masterpiece of historical fiction. Whether you read Christian fiction or not, this is just a masterpiece of historical fiction that should be read by anyone who loves historical fiction. I will link my video review of it down below, like always, but if you love historical fiction, please pick up Molly Chase. I promise you will not regret reading in pieces. Okay. Prompt number 9. Grills and barbecue. Books featuring delicious food. And believe it or not, I am struggling to come up with a book or a series I haven't previously talked about. And I am going to choose the Santa Fe Cafe series by Anne Meyer. Here's a copy of the first book. And these are set in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Our protagonist is, I believe, Rita. That's not her name, it's right here. And she is the chef at the cafe, and there are recipes at the back of the book, as you would expect. It's a cozy mystery trilogy. I wish there had been more in the series. And they're not Tex-Mex recipes. They're not Mexican recipes. They are New Mexican recipes, which is, a slight twist on Mexican food, much like Tex-Mex is. It's its own thing. And I love the mystery in here. I love the recipes. I love the way the books are written. I love the flow. So, yeah. That is what I'm going to choose for this one. Last prompt, number 10. Watch the Sunrise. A book that inspired you. There could have been many choices for this. And I'm going to choose The Lost Manuscript by Molly Jo Rushmeyer. I received this as an ARC from NetGalley when I read it. And I almost DNF'd it when I was reading it. Because it talks about... It doesn't talk about... Our protagonist is married and separated. Her husband has gone to England to take a professorship. She is going there to teach for the summer. And their marriage is starting to fall apart because of a miscarriage and miscommunication. And the miscarriage portion almost caused me to DNF it. And I'm very glad I did not. I enjoyed the book very much. I enjoyed the mystery. I enjoyed them repairing their relationship. I enjoyed the storytelling involved in the book. And the reason I chose it for this prompt is that it inspired me to actually talk about my own personal miscarriages, which is not something I ever did prior to reading this book. I didn't talk about them. I still don't talk about them a lot, but if someone is going through them, I am now willing to share and be a sounding board and offer support and understand all the things that go with the most horrible thing you can go through as a woman wanting to be a mother. And that book is the inspiration that opened me up. And the book that helped me heal, not heal. The book that finally just broke me and just gave me, for whatever reason, the permission to cry it all out, also fits that category. That is In Pieces by Laura Bradford. In the book, the woman is married. She has a daughter or son, and her husband and child are killed in a car accident, and she was at home safely sleeping. And the book is the story of her getting the news and trying to work through all of that. And it is a beautiful book about grief. And if you need a fiction book about grief, if you just need a really good cry, pick this book up. Pick either one of them up. So that is the summer bucket list tag. I am not going to tag anyone in this video. I hate handing out homework assignments in essence. If you need a tag, here you go. If you want a summer related tag, be my guest. Please leave a comment down below, like and subscribe, and I will see you here next time at the Protagonist Pub.